friends? Hope y'all are doing all right. I just wanted to just kind of, I don't know, come on here and talk a little bit with you guys. We still have Snickerdoos in here with me. She got her anxiety meds. I think I said it in a previous clip in the vlog that I'm going to be posting, but she did get her anxiety meds. She's been super lovey. You guys will see a little clip of her at some point in a vlog where she is basically licking my arm, and then she does a little, what I call a baby blip, which is like her tongue just barely sticks out. But she's super affectionate and everything. But the reason for me coming on here was because I just wanted to talk a little bit with you guys about like my journey with everything that I have going on. Like I don't know, I just wanted to talk, but yeah, you all know that I have been through a lot in my life. I have had a lot of trauma. I have had a lot of things that have happened. And I think I always kind of went through like this contradiction with myself, because on one hand, I love like the girly stuff, I love all of that, or what's deemed as girly, and I've always been like, yeah, at a young age, I loved dresses, I loved that stuff, and then I kind of also I also love boy stuff too, the stuff that society kind of deems is more boyish, like cars and dinosaurs and all of that. And I've gone back and forth between all of that, and I think that I just kind of got to a point where it's like I kind of started to kind of think about all of that, think about kind of where I am with it all, and I oftentimes struggled a lot because I felt like I didn't feel like I fit in with the girls, but I also didn't feel like I fit in with the boys either. Like, I never experienced wanting to be a different gender. That was never a thing. But at the same time, I also didn't have a very strong, connection with the gender that I was assigned at birth, obviously, and stuff. I never had a very strong connection with that side of me either. Yet, I've always liked things like dolls. I've always liked, various different things. I actually went through a phase where I went through various phases in my life. So I went through a phase where I basically wanted to wear nothing but dresses. I went through a phase where I wanted to wear nothing but boy clothes. I then went through a phase where I kind of was trying to be gender neutral. And I've kind of just never felt fully attached to a specific presentation or a specific identity of gender. I've always just been I'm just me, okay? I'm obviously just me. I'm just Cammy. That's kind of how I view myself. I don't have a strong attachment to any specific way of identifying. Obviously, whenever I'm asked, I put that I was, I put the gender that I was born as. I would put female, but I don't have like this strong attachment to my gender. I kind of I dress how I want to dress. So that sometimes means wearing stuff like this, where I'm wearing, anime, or wearing a boy shirt. Like the shirt that I got earlier today from the thrift store is a shirt. I think I got it from like the section that's meant for boys, right? For men. The one that says, my brain is giving me the silent treatment today. That I got from the boy section. And then I got some dresses that are very, very girly and very much for girls. I wear things like, I have some shorts that actually were my dad's at one point that I wear. But I also have things like pink leggings and all of that. As far as shoes go, you guys know from literally all of my videos, I basically live in Crocs because I have a lot of sensory issues, and because those are the only shoes that don't like cause my feet problems. I have tried all other types of shoes. I've tried different types of sandals. I've tried different sneakers. I've tried all of that, and it just doesn't work with me. And on top of that, I am very sensitive to socks. I don't like the feeling of socks on my feet. I don't like the feeling of shoes on my feet. Crocs are like literally the only type of shoe that I will wear, and I basically only have 3 pairs of Crocs. I have the ones that I've used while on this vacation, on this trip, which has been my Reese's Crocs. And then I have my blue Crocs, which have bubble guppies on it, and my, I think they have bubble guppies, or at least they did at one point. I think now they have Squishmallows, and I have my rainbow Crocs, which have, obviously, Squishmallow things on them. But I just never strongly felt attached to any gender or any presentation specific. It was always kind of just, I've always just kind of been, I always like to say that, like, for me, clothes and accessories and things are just, they're just that. It's just clothes. I don't view clothes as a gender specific thing. So, which is oftentimes very, very hard because, and I went through a big struggle with that at one point, because it's like, we grow up, and especially with the time period that I grew up. Oh, sorry, Snick. I'm sorry. Accidentally bumped into my cat. But the time period that I grew up in, like in the 90s, the early 2000s, there was very much the, gender assigning stuff. Like, there was boy things, there were girl things. And that's pretty much how I was always raised. I was always like, when I was like 15, 16, when I was basically a teenager, there was that expectation that I had to like start wearing makeup. And as you all know, I wear very little, if any, makeup. 99% of the time I'm probably not wearing makeup, and the percentage of the time that I am wearing makeup, I'm wearing very, very minimal makeup. So I'm only wearing like concealer, maybe a little bit to hide like the acne spots, or things like that. I'm not really wearing makeup. But yeah, it's just, I have never like been the kind of person that like strongly attached myself to a gender per se. I am who I am. I'm Cami, okay? I was born female, and I'm okay with that. I'm okay with presenting as female, okay? I'm not gonna sit here and be like, I don't like who I am. I don't have any sort of like issues with how I look per se. But as far as like, you know, how some people are very, very feminine, very like their gender and the way that they present is a big part of them, right? And if that's who you are, that's wonderful. It's great. Everybody is allowed to be whatever they want to be. As long as you're not hurting yourself or others, you do you. But it's just one of those things that, like, for me, it was never a big thing. My room, I've had my room in all different types of things. I've had everything from pink girly princessy to a lot of like what would have been considered like a boys' room with having cars, dinosaurs, all of that stuff. So, and it's just not something that I like heavily related to. I kind of got along with everybody. I got along with all types of people from all different age groups, all different walks of life, all different presentations. It didn't matter to me. I would go and for example, in elementary school, I did robotics camp, which was a mostly boy thing. I did basketball camp. Again, a lot of it was with boys. There were some girls, but a lot of it was with the boys. My best friends were they were kind of mixed. They were boys. Some of them were boys. Some of them were girls. It was never a big issue to me. And I never really considered the other side of things, like, you know, the age difference or the, you know, ability difference. Let's put it that way, okay? Whether or not somebody had a disability or not. For me, it didn't matter. It didn't matter. It really did. None of that mattered. The only thing that I really cared about when it came to the people that I surrounded myself with was, do I vibe with you? Is it something that, like, can we have conversations? Can I feel comfortable around you? Can I share my interests with you? Can I talk with you? How are you as a person? You know, how do you treat others? How do you treat me? All of that stuff. Like your personality, your beliefs, your characteristics, you know, just you as a person. What makes you as a person outside of looks, outside of any of that. It's what makes you at the core of who you are, what makes you as a person. That was the thing that was like my big go-to for whether or not I'd be friends with someone, you know. I never, like, if you guys remember, any of you who are a little bit older maybe remember the idea, like, when you're young, that boys didn't want to be around girls and girls didn't want to be around boys. You know, there's a certain age where you don't want to be around them. I never cared for that. There was never any awkwardness for me in terms of boys and girls, and it just never mattered to me. I've kind of always been fairly indifferent about my gender identity. Again, I am female. I pretty much present as female. Like, I'm not really sitting here trying to present one way or the other. Like, you guys obviously know that I'm a girl. I'm a woman. I have nothing wrong. I have nothing against those labels. But also, if someone, you know, says something else, I'm not gonna care per se. I never really cared. I don't think I'm ever gonna care enough that it's gonna be a big deal to me. So I kind of just am. I'm Cami, and that's it. And I like all types of clothing. I will wear pretty much anything as long as it meets my sensory needs and as long as it feels right on my body and as long as I like it, I will wear it. It doesn't matter which section it's from. For me, clothes are clothes. there's really, to me, there's no really right or wrong way to wear clothes. Like, you just wear clothes, okay? Um, in the mornings, I don't spend a lot of time, like, thinking through, like, oh, uh, what do I want to present today? Do I want to present in this way or that way or whatever? Like, obviously, if I'm going to, like, a nice event, obviously, I'm going to go and try to choose some of my nicer clothes. But for everyday wear, I kind of just put on whatever looks good to me. So if that day maybe a dress sounds good to me, I will put on a dress. If that day wearing my dad's shorts or and stuff like that, and a t-shirt, or like right now, I'm wearing this with the leggings. It's just, that's what I wear. As you guys have seen, I have all sorts of types, all different types of stuffed animals, of trinkets, of all of that. I'm not particularly interested in that sort of thing, I love cute things, but I also love cool things, and I love cartoons, but I also love things like the Golden Girls. I like, all different sorts of different types of things. And to me, this whole, like, trying so hard to fit into a standard I never fully understand, and again, that might be part of just my autism, part of just who I am as a person. But to me, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. If it makes you feel good, then you do you. I have, one of my things is that I always, and I think I've said it on here before with people who leave rude comments, is if you don't like it, scroll past it. It's the same sort of thing that I apply with my everyday life. If I don't like something, I just move on. It doesn't mean that there doesn't need to be this whole thing of, oh my gosh, this person is this, and finding any and every reason to be mean to people. Like, just let people live their lives. Like, it shouldn't be such a big deal. It shouldn't be such a big deal. If there's a girl that, is not necessarily, if there's a girl that has short hair and maybe she doesn't wear the kind of clothing that you deem as girly, maybe she's not the most feminine in her looks or the most whatever, it's like, just let people be people. Like, why is it bothering you? Like, is anybody imposing something on you? Is anybody telling you how to be or how to dress or how to look? And if someone's telling you how to do those things, then, like, who has the say? It's your it's your body. You live as you're born as you live as you, and you die as you, as one of my best friends would say. So why does it matter what anybody else really says or thinks? I think the same thing related to my interests. Okay, my bedroom. You take my bedroom and it basically kind of looks like a child's room a little bit, right? I mean, we kind of all agree that my bedroom has a lot of stuffies, has a lot of fidgets, has a lot of toys in it, right? But it makes me happy. It brings me joy. I find comfort in those items, right? So why does it matter what my room looks like? Why does it matter if my room is full of pink with princesses on everything, or if it's with toys and stuffies everywhere, or whatever? Why does it matter so much to people? Like, and this is not me trying to be sarcastic or facetious or anything. This is a genuine question on my part, is like, why does it matter to people what someone does or how someone is in their own home or in their own, who they are as a person? Like, why do we sit there and see someone, and the first thing we do is we judge them. The first thing that we do is we find something that we don't like about them or something to criticize about them. Like, what's the reason? You know, like you see someone that maybe doesn't have the society ideal body type. You know, like maybe they're a little bit. Maybe the way that their body is constructed, you know, their weight, their shape, um, any of that, you know. Why do we have to judge that? You don't know what someone's going through. You see, like, for example, you see a woman, you see a woman who maybe has a little extra weight on her, or maybe she has, she has imperfections, let's call them. If you even want to, whatever you want to call them. Why do we have to sit here and we have to judge? What is the point of that? What are you gaining from any of this, right? Maybe that person went through multiple pregnancy losses. Maybe that person is dealing with major mental health issues. Maybe that person has something going on with them. Or maybe they have a hormone imbalance, things like hormone imbalances, issues with the thyroid, certain medical conditions can cause weight issues. Anybody who has gone through pregnancy knows that pregnancy can cause weight gain. Usually it does, and recovering from that is hard. Stress, major life events, dietary issues, food intake. There's things that that we don't know about someone. We meet someone on the street and we see their body, but just because you see someone who is maybe a little bit on the heavier side doesn't necessarily mean that they're unhealthy, right? Doesn't necessarily mean that they're eating a bunch of junk food. That's not the case. Like with me, okay? I know that my body type is a little bit on the chunky side, if you want to put it that way. That doesn't mean that I'm unhealthy or that I don't eat healthy. I eat salad every single day, okay? I don't eat a lot of sweets. I don't touch a lot of sweets. I very on occasion will get things like soda, but not generally. I drink a lot of water too. I exercise a lot. I do yoga. I go out walking a lot. I will go and do swimming at like the aquatic center near our area. I do a lot of things. However, I have had multiple pregnancies, multiple really bad, really devastating losses. And pregnancy itself changes how your body reacts. I also have chronic illness. Some of my chronic illnesses also affect my body type and affect weight and affect everything. I am also neurodivergent for all of you guys who aren't aware. I have autism. I have ADHD. I have a lot of different issues, if you want to put them that way. I have a lot of, let's not even call them issues. I have a lot of I have a lot of differences, a lot of things that make me different. So my body type is not because of how unhealthy I am or how healthy I am. It has nothing to do with it. I can eat salad every day of my life and I would not be the ideal body type. And number two, on top of that, I can't eat the same things that a regular person would eat because I have stomach problems. I have a lot of gastric issues. I have gastroparesis. And with gastroparesis, there are certain foods you can't eat. I'm also allergic to certain foods. So there are certain foods that are kind of off limits for me. I have acid reflux. Again, certain foods are off limits because of that. There's a lot of things there. And when we go and we judge someone without knowing their story, we're not really making ourselves feel better, right? I mean, If you're judging someone, are you really making yourself feel better? If you're going around making, like online, making those mean comments to someone, like a comment that I got on my channel earlier, what is the point? Or we go on, and we see other families maybe who are sharing their experiences with having an autistic child or being autistic or whatever, and we go and we make rude comments on their channel. Why? What is the point of all of that? I'm being genuine here when I ask, what is the point? What is the point in all of this judgment that we give everybody every single day? We're going around and we're judging people. We're going around and we're trying to find something that we don't like about someone. Or we're going around and we don't know a person's life story. I mean, we see it all the time in certain communities, in certain groups with those who are marginalized. We see a lot of that. You see someone who maybe to you doesn't look disabled or doesn't look like they would have any sort of issues, and you automatically assume, oh, they just don't want to work. Like, a good example of that is, and I've seen this happen in real life, in real time, when you see someone who is, for example, homeless, you automatically assume, oh, they just need to go get a job. Oh, they just need to go do this. Oh, they just don't want to work. Why? Why? You don't know that person's story. You haven't sat down to talk with that person and to know their story. Like, unless you know a person's story and unless you've experienced something or unless you have had the chance to understand that person, nothing gives you the right to tell that person anything. No? We don't get that right. We don't get the right to just be mean to another human being because we have the ability to do so. That's what bothers me so much about the technology age we live in nowadays. And don't get me wrong, technology is wonderful. It's great. I love technology. It's great that we have the ability to connect with each other through FaceTime, through text, through the internet. We have everything available to us. But we also, at the same time, we also do so much harm in those things, in that fact that all of that can be anonymous. I've seen it so often, even here on YouTube, where people go in and they say the most awfulest things on people's channels. And it's like, what's the reason? What is the reason for any of it? What are you gaining? Are you gaining anything positive from that? Are you gaining anything positive from judging this? If you even are you gaining anything positive from it? You see my bed, you see the bed, right? You see I have a lot of stuffies. And suddenly you think that suddenly there's judgment of, oh, you're immature because I have stuffed animals. But have you sat down to talk with me? Have you sat down to get to know how I think? Have you sat down to understand who I am as a person? You see one thing about me, and immediately you think you know everything. Or we go onto YouTube or we go online and we view those people who do vlogs, and suddenly we think we know everything about them. And we think we understand everything, and we make these quick judgments. Now, it's okay to have opinions. We all are entitled to our opinion. And don't get me twisted. When I say entitled, I don't mean that just because you're allowed to have those opinions, it means that you can be all high and mighty about it. You're allowed to have your thoughts. You're allowed to have your feelings about things. You're allowed to do that. But there is absolutely no reason for you to be going around saying things that are going to be potentially hurtful to someone, or potentially make that someone be depressed, or make that someone, push that someone to points that I can't even express in words. Why? You don't know what the person's going through. You see someone whose house maybe not be the most picture perfect or and stuff like that, and you automatically assume that they're not taking care of things. You see someone maybe who has a lot of pets, right? And you automatically assume, oh, they're hoarders, or who have a lot of stuff. Or you see a clip from someone's day showing you something about their life, and you make an assumption. But that assumption is not based on fact. It's not based on knowing the person. It's based on the 5-second clip that you saw of that person. So let's just try to be a little bit more considerate of people. Let's try to judge people less based on their appearance or based on the things that we don't understand. Let's try to be less critical of that. And instead, let's work together to try to understand each other and try to create acceptance of each other. What would it take for us to be more accepting of each other, of accepting of differences, accepting of the fact that even as an adult, you're allowed to like stuffed animals. You're allowed to like cartoons. You're allowed to like dolls. You're allowed to do things like role play with like reborns. If you like reborns and you do role play, that is okay. That does not make you weird. If you like to sleep with a stuffy, that does not make you weird. If you have a comfort item, no matter what that comfort item is, it could be something as simple as a fidget, like this, or a small stuffy, or a lucky penny, or maybe you have a favorite jacket that you like to carry around with you at all times, regardless of the season. That's okay. It doesn't make you weird. It makes you unique. It makes you who you are. We are all individuals, and we all have things that make us who we are. But let's remember that at the end of the day, even with all of that put together, we are all human beings, and we all have feelings, and we all have struggles, and we all have insecurities. And let's not play into other people's insecurities. Let's not make the world harder than it already is. Because let's be honest, being an adult is hard. Living in the world we live in nowadays is hard. It is not easy to be in the world we are in now, by any means. So let's not play into all of this craziness of judging each other and being mean to each other and going around and just talking whatever negative you want to talk about. Let's first get to understand someone and get to know someone. And if we're genuinely not sure of something, let's ask questions first. Ask a question. Asking a question never hurt anybody, and that gives the person the chance to be able to explain and to be able to talk about things, and it gives you the chance to be able to understand a little bit more and learn something, because we all have something to learn from each other. We all have things that we can learn, and we can all work to be a better version of ourselves. We can all work to be more considerate of others and more empathetic and more responsive to differences, because we are all different. Anyway, that's what I wanted to talk about. That is kind of my ramble. I know it went from one place to another, to another, to another, to another. I know it was a kind of a long ramble. I've been filming it for 34 minutes. But I hope that you guys enjoyed this. I hope you guys found something good that came out of this for you guys. And I hope that you guys do something to brighten someone's day. Leave a positive comment on a video that you've watched, or go tell somebody that you love them, or go do something for someone. Maybe you have a friend, or maybe you know a coworker, or maybe you know someone who's struggling. Check in with them. Make sure that they're okay. And if you're the one struggling, know that it's okay to struggle. Know that you're not alone. Know that there are tons of people out there who care about you, and know that all of those negative comments that are being thrown at you or that are being told to you are not true. And if you're struggling to unmask, if you're autistic and you're struggling with unmasking, again, know that you're not alone. Know there's a lot of us out there who are struggling. And know that it's okay to be yourself and to be open about yourself. It's okay to have a comfort item. It's okay to have a fidget toy. It's okay to be you. Anyway, I love you guys so, so much. And as always, you know the motto for the channel. If you're going through it, you will get through it. And remember who you are. And let's continue making this community the beautiful community that it is. And let's continue spreading positivity and acceptance and love and empathy in the world, because we all need a little bit of that. So I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.